Hi folks, and welcome to day 30 of our lessons from Leviticus. Today's devotional is called Direction from God. Leviticus chapter 7, verses 37 and 38. These are the rules for burnt offerings, grain offerings, sin offerings, guilt offerings, and friendship offerings. They are also the rules for offerings that are given when priests are being prepared to serve the Lord. They are the rules the Lord gave Moses on Mount Sinai. He gave them on the day he commanded the Israelites to bring their offerings to the Lord. That took place in the Sinai desert. The book of Leviticus contains a fair bit of detail, so much so that it is traditionally viewed as legalistic and not applicable. But why does it contain so much detail? Why did God give so many instructions to Moses and Aaron? Perhaps, if we take a step back and look from a different perspective, we may see why. The Lord had just led the people of Israel out of Egypt. All that Moses knew was that God required him to lead the people out of Egypt into a new land. But in the book of Leviticus, we see the beginnings of God's plans for the people of Israel. The Lord did not just tell Moses to do something. He gave him clear and comprehensive instructions on what was supposed to be done. Rather than an oppressive set of rules, the book of Leviticus should remind us that whenever the Lord gives us a vision or dream, He will also give us a blueprint on how we should get that thing done. The book of Leviticus should act as a reminder to us that we too are able to get specific direction from God. Here are some questions for you to think about. Do I expect God to give me direction for the visions and dreams He has placed in my heart? Have I asked God for direction in my life? Do I look for God's instructions and commands for my life? Well, that's almost it from me, but thanks so much for making it to the end of day 30. I really appreciate you. I do hope this short series has helped you unpack some of the treasures in Leviticus. If you like this podcast, you'll love my devotional books in this series, also called Lessons from Leviticus. They are available on Amazon, and I have included a link in the show notes for your convenience. If you made it this far, I'm assuming you're a subscriber. Could I please ask you to rate and review this podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts, whether it's Apple, Spotify, Google, Podcast Addict, Audible, or somewhere else. It really helps the algorithms get the podcast into the hands of other potential listeners. Lastly, the way this podcasting stuff works, I know that I have listeners all over the world, but I have no way of connecting with you, which means I can't tell you about other new projects that I'm working on, such as my podcast called Have You Ever Read, which is all about good Christian books. If you were interested in hearing more from me, could I please encourage you to sign up to my weekly devotional where you'll hear all about my new products as I launch them. I will include a link to this in the show notes. You can also sign up on my website, which is www.jeankabasomi. That's www.jeankabasomi.com. If that isn't for you, but you want to hear about my other podcast, I'll also include a link to that too in the show notes. Well, that's all from me. Thanks again for spending the last 30 days with me. God bless you and have a great day. Bye.